Alright everybody, well, it is minus 15 degrees right now with minus 35 wind chill. As you will see here, there's no water line going through the 3-inch tube. That is because it froze last night. I turned down the flow rate to try and keep it from running over, and apparently I turned it down too much and it froze. So I tried the hair dryer trick, and it is just so cold and the wind is blowing so hard that it just sucks the heat right off of this tube, so the heat isn't transferring to the end. But you can go to the end of the tube, put your hand there, and you can feel that the hair dryer is pushing air all the way through it. It's just way too cold. So I pulled the line back in here. You can see I've got it up off the ground everywhere, draped over top of everything, and as soon as it starts to run, I'm going to change the end on here. I'll show you guys the end I had on there. I had a end that you can put a garden hose on, but the valve is so finicky on it, trying to fine-tune it. So I'm going to put this valve on there, put a short stub of PEX, and then this is the end that was on there. I'll put this one back on, and what I do is I slide a pop bottle over top of this, and then I feed it back through the 3-inch drain. That's how I installed it the first time. So once this thaws out, we'll feed it back through, and hopefully we can get the flow rate set right this time. As you can see, it's starting to thaw out. The water is turned on, so once it starts to go, the water will run pretty fast. So yeah, the worst part with feeding it back through is trying to get it so all this stuff doesn't get caught and everything feeding it in. But somebody asked about this PEX tubing and said it's expensive. 100 or 150 foot roll of this 1/2 inch is $25, and that roll of 3-inch, I believe it's 3-inch, it might be 4-inch black drain corrugated tube that is not perforated, was like $25 for a 100 foot roll. So I don't have much into it. The most I have invested in anything is the tools I bought to do all the PEX tubing, and I invested in the tools because I have slowly switched everything on the farm over to PEX, just because it's so simple to work with. But you can buy a package of like 100 of the crimps for crimping your fittings and stuff for like $5. All the different little fittings are a couple, you know, maybe $1 a piece or 50 cents a piece. The valves, the big 1-inch valves that I have for like right here, some of these nicer ones can cost $10 a piece, but a lot of them are right around $5. These right here, you buy a 2-pack for like $3 or whatever it is. They're like $1.50 a piece. It's pretty cheap. These valves, I want to say, are like $2 a piece. And this right now, see, this is all the way on, so once that thaws out, it'll start pushing water out, which is slowly thawing out. Like that fitting there, a 1-inch down to 1/2 inch is like $2, whatever. It's not expensive, and it's really nice to work with. So, but once you crimp it, it doesn't leak. And this PEX tubing can handle being froze, and the tubing itself never has any issue. It's normally, if anything breaks, it's going to be these because they're brass or copper. I believe it's brass. These will break before anything because obviously it's a metal, and they'll crack from expanding. But like this right here, I don't know where it says 25 of them in there, a bag of 25. I mean, this is just a couple dollars. Then I bought this tool for cutting tubing. This is, you know, $10 or whatever. And then I have both tools that's 1 inch, that's 1/2 and 3/4. So it's well worth the investment if you can switch over to PEX tubing versus black tubing. Black tubing cannot handle this kind of stress. Here's a 1 inch valve. I mean, these are like between $5 to $10 a piece. They're well worth the investment. So anyways, that's another reason I have it inside black tubing, because if the line would ever break, I can easily, let's say it's underground. All my underground is PEX tubing. If my water supply here broke that comes from the house, it runs through the same black tubing drain that my wood stove tubes run through. I can hook a new line down here or up in the house, come to the other end and pull the new line through as I pull the old line out. That's why I did everything that way. All my buried line is that way, from the well house to the wood stove to the shop, everything. So I can easily just feed new stuff through with the old stuff if it were to ever break. And like with this, my original thought was the hair dryer would thaw it out, but it's just way too cold today. So like now, I just went and undid the clamps at the end so I could pull it back through here, thaw it out, feed it back out there, put the clamps back on. There you go. So pretty simple. So yeah, that's what's going on today. It is not very nice out, but living in the frozen tundra, we learn how to deal with it. So anyways, that's what's going on today. Let's see if it's starting to thaw a little bit. All of a sudden there'll be a big burst and it'll all come out. So yeah, I got to get my flow rate set. But next year there should be, at least 10 more animals drinking, so that should help, and hopefully our corn silage will be drier. That should cure the issue, because last year I never had this problem. I had it freeze one time, and that's when the light bulbs in the well house burnt out overnight, and the well house froze up. So we changed some things in there, so that'll never happen again. Now we run a light bulb and like a milk house heater. The milk house heater is a backup deal. So if the light bulb can't keep up and the milk house heater kicks in, that's worked flawless now. Yeah, otherwise that's the only other time I've had it freeze. But last year my silage was drier and the cows drank more water, so I could keep the flow rate set right and it didn't run over all the time. But anyhow, that's what's going on this lovely freezing cold Saturday. So anyhow, alright, so I did not get footage of it actually thawing out, but you can see the remnants there of all the ice chunks that came out of that 100 foot of 1/2 inch PEX tubing. The reason I did not get any footage is I got the ends on right away, and I didn't want to fill up my black tube with water, so I had to be really, really fast. So I didn't want to take the time to try and set up the camera. But as you can see, the PEX tubing is back through there. I've got slack here. And what I use to put on the end, I'll show you right here. It's still frozen. I cut that pop bottle, I slit the top, I stuck the end of it in there. That way this prevents it from binding on the corrugation, that drain pipe. And then I fed it through. Now I'll run out there and show you what it looks like at the other end. I gotta put my glove on because it is extremely cold out here. And it does not take long until you can't feel your face anymore. And it is up to -10 now. But that wind is very raw. Looks beautiful though, don't it? Boy, looks can be deceiving. Anyhow, I changed the end of this a little bit. What I did was I had a piece of this other corrugated pipe right here. I put this on, I tied it and I wedged it between here, and then I wedged it down in there. And what I'm hoping is this, being it's bigger, won't freeze as easy. Because what happened, I think, is there was a pinch where my PEX tubing I had in there yesterday kind of was binding a little bit. So we got rid of that. But as you can see, there is my end. And then come spring, all I need to do is untie this drain tile, move it, and then I can hook my hose back up to my float. But then, as you can see, I have that valve tucked away up there so the cows can't really find it. Another 2x6 on the bottom here would be better. But this valve is so much easier to fine tune than that other one. So, no, I can't really back up much more. But you can hear that water, see it dripping down there. This will be a lot easier for me to see it. Hopefully that will prevent this issue again. And what I'm hoping, I've got this talk tank heater on right now because the water was froze. You know, the line was froze, so I wasn't getting any warm water from the wood stove. Hopefully, if this starts to freeze up in here, which it shouldn't because this is warm water, if it ever does, hopefully I can just plug that heater in and warm water or whatever, warm air will flow up through there and thaw it back out. But anyways, that's how I've got it. And this end of my black pipe here is loose, so when you're feeding that through, it flops around enough that it doesn't bind up coming around this corner. So yeah, that's what we did for the fix. So hopefully that doesn't happen again. Now, like I say, it'll be easier for me to fine tune it. So that other valve was just really finicky. It was either off or it seemed like it was running too fast. This one I can adjust better. So anyhow, that's the end of that. We've got water again. So today's fiasco is over. Hopefully everything else goes fine. But anyhow, thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you're all staying warm. Stay safe. Hope you're having a great day. I'll see you guys later.